Wonderful, thank you so much. There's a Buddhist phrase that goes, do not speak unless it will improve the silence. I just feel like saying nothing after that. That was beautiful. Thank you. We are so blessed for Asha. Holy, as Nick would say, holy moly.
A holy moly moment.
A holy moly, yes, a holy moly moment. Well, good morning.
Good
I'm glad to see you here, coming out on this holiday weekend. Thank you so much for coming. As we continue our October series on abundance. That's the word I like to use. Prosperity, abundance. Abundance resonates with me. I want to thank Reverend Cady for her talk last week on unexpected abundance. And what Reverend Cady did is she introduced us to the unexpected abundance prayer. And what Reverend Chris did is make them into really cool cards. So when you go out, you will see that you have really cool cards to carry around. The blue one refers to the abundance of God, because many of us call God or Spirit by different names. And the yellow one refers to the abundance of the universe. So you get to pick which one you like, but I encourage you to pick one up. They are really neat. I myself am taking both of them. So,
and there's plenty.
Because we have an abundance of them.
Because we have an abundance of them. And there will still be more. Yeah. So conversations about, I've been thinking about this a lot this week. Conversations about abundance, prosperity, and money are constant. They are ongoing in our individual lives, in our lives as a community. For many of us, issues surrounding abundance or money or finance really is where the spiritual rubber kind of hits the road, isn't it? Because it's where what we want in our lives manifests or it does not. The rest of this stuff, we can keep a kind of airy-fairy, but when you're thinking about prosperity and abundance, this is really where we see kind of feet to our faith. We see whether or not what we believe comes out into reality in our lives. Now, we are told that if we practice certain spiritual principles, if we learn how to rightly attract abundance, we will obtain money, finances, opportunity, and prosperity. We focus a lot of energy on getting this right. We go to workshops, we buy books, we buy CDs, we listen to people talk about how we do it right to attract these resources into our lives. We think that if we do it a certain way, prosperity, finances, money will manifest in our lives. Sometimes this is kind of a high bar. And so what I want to talk about today is kind of a different take on it. Because sometimes I think we put it backwards. And just personally, this is how I feel about it myself. When I think of abundance, I don't think of money. I think of all the opportunities and the wonderful things occurring in our lives. But just bear with me, and I'm going to kind of talk through how I see it. I want to talk about a way of approaching life in the spirit that acknowledges that abundance surrounds us now, kind of like Asha was talking about in that wonderful song. So the question for us today is, how do we live so that we can realize the abundance that surrounds us? Because it does. That's what we believe. We believe that we live in an abundant universe. That at bottom, at the end of the day, we are whole and complete, and we are surrounded by God with sufficiency. We are surrounded by enough. As I was researching this talk, I came across this great story. In years past, let me just share it with you, brother. In years past, old sailing ships used to be exploring the New World, and they would find themselves becalmed in the doldrums off of South America. Now, I'm a former Navy person. Doldrums is a Navy phrase. It's water that is just sitting there. There's no wind. Another Navy person. You're just not going anywhere. They would find themselves becalmed off South America, off Brazil. No wind, no nothing. They're just sitting there. A Spanish galleon could sit there for weeks with no way to move off of where they were. The men would run out of fresh water. They would become parched. They were approaching death. They were becoming desperate. So a local ship would come out, and the sailors would lean over the side and yell, "Can we have some of your water? Please, we're dying here." And the locals would point out that they were sitting at the mouth of the Amazon River, which is a huge body of fresh water. They were sitting, parched, in the middle of all the fresh water they needed. All they needed to do was lower their buckets over the side. They just didn't know it. So aren't we often like those sailors in our own lives? Just surrounded by abundance and not knowing it? We know that we live in a world of unlimited abundance. That is a truth that never changes. It is a fact that does not alter. Often, though, we behave as though it's not. We behave as though we live in a world of lack. We behave as though what we need is outside our reach. Don't we? Am I the only one who does that? I think not. I think we do. We just articulate everything that we don't have that we need. So in the last couple of weeks, I've had a lot of opportunity to think about support that the universe offers us. For those who know, I've been going through a tough time. My mother died 2 weeks ago. And it has been a time which has caused me to reflect on the support the universe provides for us, even in tough times. I have to tell you, it has been, I was talking to somebody, Linda, about this, it has been a transformational time for me. In terms of the lessons that are just zooming my way. Sometimes I think I'm just sitting and just absorbing what the universe is telling me about this phase in my life. I'm drawing out the lessons. I mean, I can only describe this experience as exceedingly sad, but also profoundly rich. I cannot even tell you how rich this experience has been. And the reason I bring it up is that even in the middle of the darkness and the pain and the loss, I have never felt unsupported by God, by the light, by the support that the universe surrounds us all with. I know even in the middle of all this, and it's not that I know it with my little tiny mind, I feel it. I just, in every cell of my being, I know it to be true. That I am supported in the arms of God. That I am beloved, I am not alone, I am whole, and I am fine. So how does this translate for me when I'm thinking about abundance? It's the same principle. We are always surrounded by enough. We are surrounded by the sufficiency that God gives us every day if we just take the time to know it. This experience has given me just additional insight into knowing that this is true. I am noticing it even more. So it's the same all-embracing support and love that is the source and the cause for the abundance in our lives. It's not the effort we put out. It's not how smart we are. It's not where we went to school. It's not how much money we make. Our source of abundance is spirit. It just is. And the more we act out of that knowledge, the more abundance will come into our lives. So how does this translate into action or into meaning? Sometimes the trap we fall into, and I fall into this too, is thinking, because we get told this, that people who are wealthy are doing something right. And if we're not wealthy, we're not doing something right. We are not applying these principles correctly in our lives because money has not been flowing to us. So, is wealth a manifestation of spiritual maturity? Who thinks that? Everyone here gets an A. It's not. If you're not wealthy, does it mean that you should be doing something different? No, it does not. But don't we sometimes get that message? Do you sometimes get that message that if you were just applying these principles right, you'd have a lot more money than you do now? Am I just making this up? Who thinks that? Yeah, we do. So we get these people we get these, these teachers who are wonderful people, and they probably came from nothing and learned a lot, but they live in places we'd all just love to go live in, and they make a ton of money, and they say, come to my lecture and I'll teach you how to be just like me. We go to their lectures, and 6 weeks later, I'm not just like them. So what am I missing? This causes me to think. I don't think that's the way the universe works. I really don't. I think we are sometimes misled. We are attracted to the idea of wealth because we all want to be in a place where we don't have to worry about money, right? Don't we? I worry about money. I worry about how I'm going to pay my bills, pay my mortgage, raise my kids. The thing is, More money will not avoid the worry of money. The truth is, we don't need to worry about money now. The notion of wealth giving us security is a, stand by for my favorite word, I want you all to use it, chimera. It's a chimera. It's false. Chimera is defined by Webster as a thing that is hoped or wished for, but in fact is illusory or impossible to achieve. Okay, so when you leave here, side note, I want all of you to work that into your conversation today. Come back next week and tell me how it goes. Okay. The concept of wealth does not give us security. Actual wealth does not give us security. It's a false message. How many of us know people who have a lot of money who are just totally miserable? Would you trade for them? No, we would not. We believe that if we don't have a great deal, we are at risk. It's a belief, if we believe that, it's a belief that we are in control, that we can decide how much money makes us safe, that if we have so much money in our bank account, we don't need to worry about the next month or the next year. We don't know that. When I get in my car, I don't know that I'll make it home. We don't. We're just telling ourselves something which may be comforting, but it's not true. It is not providing security, even though we tell ourselves if we have so many thousands in the bank, we will be safe. In her classic Lessons in Truth, Emily Cady writes, "In our ignorance of the nature of God and of our relationship to Him, we have believed that all our enjoyment came from external sources, usually from gaining possession of something we did not have. The poor see enjoyment only in possessing abundance of money. The rich, who are satiated with life's so-called pleasures until their lives have become like a person with an overloaded stomach, compelled to sit constantly at a well-spread table, are often the most bitter in the complaint that life holds no happiness for them." She goes on to say the sick one believes that health will make him or her happy. The healthy but hard-working person needs all they need is a vacation. Right? Isn't that true? Whatever we feel we don't have, getting it is going to fix our problem. Whatever we think we don't have, once we get it, it's going to fill that hole inside us. Do we think that's true? Yes. No. That's the first step in awakening, is when we realize that it does not. And it was very hard for me because you know me in electronics. I had to learn that when I'm feeling sad or depressed, the trip to Fry's doesn't fix it. That was a tough lesson. This is not the road to awakening. This is not the road to continuing down our spiritual path. When I think of abundance in a spiritual sense, I do not think of wealth. I think, as the song said, I think of enough. I think of sufficiency, provided by Spirit in ways we cannot anticipate. Alan Cohen writes, "Abundance is not a number or acquisition. It is the simple recognition of enoughness." Right? Wealth, when I think about wealth, I think about surplus, about having so much money that I don't even know what to do with it, that I don't have to worry. However, the truth is, I don't have to worry now. I just need to open my eyes and recognize the abundance that is around me. If I believe that it's all God, that I live in a world of abundant goodness, why am I wasting my time worrying? How small. The invitation is to live large, to realize what is out in front of us right now. In Matthew chapter 6, Jesus taught his disciples should not worry about what they're going to wear, about what they're going to eat. "Remember the lilies of the field, they toil not and neither do they spin. Yet I say to you that not even Solomon in all his glory is clothed like one of these." It's not because of their merit, it's because they live in a world that is just conspiring to give us our good. Look around us. We see life exploding around us every day. Remember Jeannie Ward was up here a couple weeks ago talking about be aware of what is offered to you? Do y'all ever have a talk where there's like one phrase you just take away with you? That is what I took away from that wonderful talk. Be aware of what is offered to you. Not what we're earning, not what we're buying, of what is offered to you. Look around us. We have sunlight, we have rain, we have food, we have nutrition. We have the bounty of this world just offered to us. We are surrounded by what we need, just like those sailors were. And we often don't even know it because we focus on what we think we lack. The other problem with emphasis on money, I think, is that it is so limiting. The abundance that God offers us comes in so many ways. It comes with friends, as Chris just found out. It comes with health. It comes with good work, opportunities to serve, good volunteer times. We are surrounded by so much abundance. Let's not limit it just to our bank accounts. Let's not think small, please. We are bigger than that. Creation is bigger than that. Our opportunities are bigger than that. Now, okay, what's the hard part in all this? The hard part is that we have to trust. We have to have faith that abundance is out there, that it is coming our way. That's another problem with wanting thousands of dollars in your bank account, just because it makes you feel good. It's a message of fear. It's a message that I don't know what's happening, I don't know what's coming, it's going to be bad, so I need a lot of money just in case. That is the exact opposite of trust. That is the exact opposite of what the universe calls us to do. Now, I'm not saying that we don't manage our resources wisely. I'm not saying that we don't work, that we don't save. We have to do that because that's just good stewardship, right? I'm saying that what we do is we continue to recognize what is our source. Our effort is not our source. And surely to God, our worry is not our source. I have spent so many years worrying. By actual count, I'm now 98, and it hasn't done a darn thing. Right? There's the old joke about the lawyers who bill. You know, my God, by his timesheets, he must be 112. Where do I get these? Okay. Because I'm a lawyer, yeah, exactly so. We have to remember what is our source. God is the cause. Spirit is the cause. Everything else is just the effect. We have to keep our eyes on true north. So, what does this mean? I was thinking in that prayer that Chris read, the reading that she read, in it, she read, there is only one prayer we have to give, thy will be done. Okay, now what did that mean to me? That meant that it is the imperative of the universe that we live according to who we divinely are. Thy will be done to me means that I live in integrity by who I am here to be, who I came to this earth to be. I am a manifestation of the divine here on earth. So what does that mean? It means I live in integrity. It means I serve. It means I love others. It means I express compassion. That is what God wants us to do. That is our imperative here on earth while we inhabit these bodies. That to me is what is meant by that phrase. So, do resources come to us when we do that? I believe they do. I think by putting resources first, we kind of get it backwards. What we need to put first is what we are here to do. When we do what we are called to do, when we do what we love, the resources will follow. Don't we know that to be true? Another thought I had was the Lord's Prayer. I've been thinking about that a lot. It says, give us this day our daily bread. Think about that. It doesn't mean give us this day enough bread for the next year and a half. It means give us this day our daily bread. I trust that I will have enough for today. And tomorrow when I wake up, I will trust again. Because that's the way the universe works. I am of the universe. It made me, it forms me, it animates me, so I know that it will supply what I need on a daily basis. Give me what I need today. Because I'm going to trust that tomorrow the same thing is going to happen. In Luke chapter 9, Jesus also taught his disciples, he said, as they left, he said, take nothing for the journey. neither a staff, nor a bag, nor bread, nor money. Do not even have 2 tunics apiece. What is the message there? That he wanted them to be broke? I don't think so. The message was that they needed to trust, that they needed to step out in faith, knowing that when they were doing God's will, what they were called to do, if you want to think of it that way, that the resources would follow. Remember, it is not up to us alone. You know, we talk a lot about how we are co-creators of the universe, that we work with Spirit to create our lives. Sometimes we act as though we're not co-creators. Sometimes we act like we're masters of the universe. We're not. We are working with spiritual laws. We are not out there pulling all the levers ourselves, much as we would like to. So I suggest that what we might want to think about is shifting the focus from the concern that we need more resources to the question of what the purpose of those resources are. If we had it, what would we do? What do we love? How can we serve? The universe wants to provide for us, not just so we can stack money up and look at it and feel really good, but so that we can be the hands and the feet and the voice of God right here. That we can use it. That we can continue the energy, because that's what money is, it's energy. That's what effort is, it's energy. So that we can take those resources and use them to improve the lives of others in this world. That we can fulfill our mission and vision that we read at the beginning of the service. We are given resources so that we can accomplish what it is we came here to do in love and peace and compassion and joy. It's the intent that comes first. It's the desire that comes first. The commitment, the joy, the willingness to step out, that comes first. And the resources follow it. Wayne Dyer wrote that doing what you love is the cornerstone of having abundance in your life. Don't we know that to be true? We have financial abundance, we have spiritual abundance, we have joy, we have excitement. We just sparkle when we do what we love. Hope Bradford wrote that Kuan Yin speaks on the law of prosperity and abundance by saying this: continue down the path that makes you feel fulfilled. Those who continue on an unrewarding path for the sake of only monetary gain are displaying a lack of trust in life. Continuing in such a mistrustful way will only bring impoverishment. Following one's heart, continuing on one's divine path, can bring abundance. So the question is, what do we need to do? We need to start. You step out doing what you love. You step out in faith, even with the resources you have. You know the image I love? I love that image from that Indiana Jones movie. You know, where Harrison Ford steps, he's trying to get from here to, you know, the cave where the goblet is, and he steps out. Now, does everybody remember that scene? Yeah. Yes, we all remember that scene. Okay. Yes, he's like a big chasm down there. It's a big drop. Okay, so does he stand there and he says, "Oh man, I really wish there was a bridge"? No. He steps out, not knowing if there was going to be a bridge or not. It would not have appeared if he had not done that. And it's the same for us. The resources appear when we start doing what we love, doing what we came here to do. The way we co-create with Spirit is just to begin. Look at us here at One World. Are we not a testament to that principle? Look at what we've been through, how we've grown, what we've done, how we've changed in the past 4 years. And how have we done it? Because we have had faith that all we need to do is step out. And that resources will follow, that people will follow, that we will accomplish what we love doing. It also works in our individual lives. Has anybody here just started something out of the sheer love of starting it and having the resources follow? Yes. That, I believe, is the secret to abundance. It's not waiting until the time is perfect, because guess what? You can write this down. It's never going to be perfect. It's never going to be completely right until I have $5,000, until I get a good job, until I move to fill in the blank. No, it doesn't wait. It's never going to happen. We start now with what we have, and the resources will follow. Johann von Goethe wrote, I love this quote, "The minute one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that never would have otherwise occurred. Unforeseen incidents and meetings and material assistance which no man could have dreamed would have come his way." So as we move through this month, as we're thinking about abundance, as we're thinking about prosperity, that's the way I invite us to think about it. What do we want to do? What do we love to do? In your own life, what is it that you have in your heart to do? That's what we need to focus on. I think once we tap into that, once we start doing that work, the resources just flow. Let's take these thoughts into meditation.